Hi, welcome everybody. Are you guys ready for a brand new show? Project Next is going to try something new. Yesterday, I did a speech about propaganda, not yesterday, Saturday. And I said at it, both sides, the right and the left, are being trapped. We're being manipulated by propaganda, by news that want to make us hate and fear our neighbors. They want to cause division. And they do that by making the most outrageous headlines, by promoting the most extreme things with the most extreme takes. And we are going to try to call that out today. So I came up with this show idea and I somehow convinced Dr. Tim Peck and Christopher Maichin to do this with me. So thank you guys. It was very brave of you all. And here's what I did. I asked Tim to find 5 really far to the right headlines that spark hate against Democrats. And I asked Christopher, who is my favorite Republican and just turned 21, by the way, happy birthday. I asked him to come up with 5 far to the left headlines, and we're going to rank them. I'm going to be like, I think this one's the worst. I think this one's the worst. And I want to know, what do you guys think is the worst and why? So this is a very interactive show. It doesn't matter whether you're watching it live or you're watching after the live. If you guys could comment which headline do you think is the worst and why? And we're kind of trying to step out of our boxes. We're all going to admit that we've been manipulated by our sides before, and we're going to look at how easily it's done to us so that we can unite and actually like solve some of our problems instead of just being, you did it. No, you did it. No, you're terrible. No, you're terrible. Let's like stop that and let's work together and like fix some of the stuff. Okay, so I've got Dr. Tim Peck. You guys should know him. He is my co-founder, one of my best friends. And then we've got Christopher Maichin, who's been on one show.
Two shows with Scott.
Yes, 2 shows with Scott, one on Project Next.
One on Project Next.
Yes. So Christopher, we probably need to know just a tiny bit about you. You are Tim's nephew and a Republican and a wonderful human. And I met you in person like a year ago now. And yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into this, because you're the new one here.
So my name is Christopher Maichin. I am a rising senior at Colby College up in Maine. I am a proud Republican, but always willing, a moderate Republican, I'd say, always willing to be able to speak with people from across the aisle. And one of my big things has always been I'd rather be around people who have different values than me rather than the same, so I'm not stuck in my own echo chamber. I've done a lot of different things politically. I was my school's student chairman for Students for Haley, which was, Nikki Haley's campaign when she was running in the primary. And then last year I had the great honor of coming down to southeastern Indiana and working on my uncle's campaign and really being able to go in, learn the grassroots side of things, going to every single, county fair throughout the summer, learning about Indiana politics and trying to expand that tent, bring in those moderate Republicans, bring in those Republicans to this truly centrist message. And then this past summer, I was participating in a program through the Ronald Reagan Institute for the Academy for Civic Education and Democracy, which was all about bringing people from different, states, different political views, different schools all together to have speaker conferences, take a class on presidential leadership, and really be able to understand and, civically engage with people who have different values and beliefs that you do. And I was interning for a Republican digital marketing agency there. Now I'm home for the summer, going back to school in a month, and I'm super excited to do this today.
So we didn't get like a Republican that's secretly a Democrat. We got a Republican that interned for Republicans in DC this summer. Just FYI, you guys. So we got the real deal here. Okay.
An intern for a Democrat.
Yeah, exactly.
I brought him to, Stonewall meetings and other pure Democrat meetings where it would be only Democrats in the room, and we would introduce him as a Nikki Haley Republican, working to help us relate to people who might get behind a more progressive message and some of the things that I believe in around fiscal conservatism to bring social good And sometimes it would be like people would look at him like he was an endangered species in a case that I was bringing, like as a show and tell. And other times, most of the time, he would get deep into it with people and did a lot of listening, a lot of understanding. Christopher is my godson. He is my nephew, and he is one of the most, maybe the most empathetic person I've known since he could talk, even before he could talk.
Yeah, you're pretty one of a kind, Christopher. You're pretty awesome. I cannot believe you just turned 21.
Yeah, don't flatter me. Thank you.
I mean, but you're so brave to do this. It's hard to get people to do live shows. Yeah, you're awesome. If you guys want to know more about Christopher, watch the Who's Left episode with Scott Aaron Rodgers. It was just a few weeks ago that he was on. Basically, after you all talked, I was like, oh, a lot of Republicans want the same things Democrats want. Like, they just have different ways to get them. To get the solutions are different, but the things we want are the same. Whereas we're fed to believe you guys are monsters, like that you're a legit monster, and I'm supposed to unfollow you and block you on social media and never speak to you again because you voted differently than me. And so we just want to kind of point out that's what they want us to think. Okay, so let's get into it. Yep. Tim, I want your first. So we're gonna number them. So this is gonna be number 1. What is your first one you want to pull up and tell us about for this is a far to the left actual headline. You'll say what news source it's from, and then we will kind of pull how this is wanting us to hate that side.
All right. So leading off is Fox, and we'll start there. Everybody's familiar with them. We'll go into some more obscure rightist periodicals as well. But right there about what's the first thing on healthcare today. It says Dr. Oz touts investment in Medicaid. Quote, just already, right? Like even if it's there, like what investment are you talking about? Quote, I'm trying to save this beautiful program, says Dr. Oz.
So Dr. Oz is trying to save Medicaid?
That's correct. And he's talking about the administration's investment in Medicaid that they've made. And
but
so
they just cut Medicaid, right? I mean, isn't that what just happened to get cut?
Right. That's correct. By billions and billions of dollars. There's a $200 billion investment that has been proposed by Trump and the administration to put into what's called interoperability, which is where one healthcare system, one doctor's office can talk to another and share electronic medical records. And so this is something that's been trying to be pushed forward in a very bipartisan way forever. And the Trump administration's actually doing a good job of kind of rattling the cage and trying to push this forward right now. And so, but, the Fox way of covering that is to say the Trump administration is investing in Medicaid. Whereas, first of all, this is for all insurances, all people, whether you have insurance or not, has nothing to do with Medicaid, right? Medicaid will benefit from it slightly, but nothing to do with it. And so
if people are following Fox and they're reading this headline, they're thinking the bill that just passed supports Medicaid. And so when they see the left-wing stuff saying you're cutting Medicaid, they're like, no, you're stupid. We just read this. It's helping. So that's kind of an issue. What do you say about that, Christopher?
I just think, well, like, once again, it's so misleading. And for anybody who has been following everything after the one big beautiful bill, like, we all know that this is the largest divestment in in Medicaid ever. And like, while like I don't disagree with the work requirements for it. I don't think 20 hours a week is that bad, is that terrible. If you're disability, elderly, have children, you don't have to work the 20 hours. Like, and I believe in all of that, but I would rather the headline be talking about something like that rather than saying we're investing this boatload into Medicaid, when the truth and the reality is that you just cut billions and billions of dollars off of it. And most likely millions of people are going to lose their coverage. So it's the classic, Republican spin on, trying to rewrite the ship. Because I think a lot of the times with Republicans, and like my way too, is like, Republicans are seen as like not empathetic at all, and Democrats are seen as like too empathetic almost.
Yeah.
And so like from the fiscal conservatism angle, like that makes sense to me, right? Because I'm informed, I look at the numbers and see what we're doing and what we're investing in, right? But a lot of people will just read that headline and be like, "Oh, what are they talking about? You know, they're cutting Medicaid. Look, Trump just invested all this money into it."
So as a Republican, you recognize this is not accurate.
No, it's
and
completely, it's spinning the facts, like, and just like my uncle said, it's like it's not, it's for these programs to be able to have this, transparency through with doctors and to streamline all of that, right? But at the end of the day, it's not solving or, kind of redoing the effects that the one big beautiful bill had on Medicaid.
I also say, like, these things have history. These programs have history. They don't come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I've been involved in DC health policy for a decade now. People have been working very hard on this, and the Obama administration was working very hard on this and made huge strides to get us to where we are. And then Trump administration came in and made huge strides. And then the Biden administration came in huge strides. This is the next step in something that's been going on. It's not a new story. They're just taking this story and manipulating it to cover up what they did to so many working poor.
Right. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Let's hear one from you, Christopher. So that's right. Number one on Tim's side. I'm trying to save the people bill.
Now, this one is from the Daily Beast. I'll put it in the chat now. So it's Trump 79 orders everyone but him to get fit again.
Everyone but him. So this is talking, I assume, about the presidential, what is it called? The presidential
fitness test. The presidential fitness test. Yes.
Did you have to take this when you were in grade school?
They did away with it under Obama, I believe.
Okay. So you didn't take it.
So 2012, I think. But like, I think there was still.
So you didn't have to take the fitness test, but now you would. Is the
now I would. Now I would. But like, even so, like with that, like, I still had fitness tests that I had to do. Like, I don't know if it was like within, what the presidential fitness test is, but like we still had to do the mile run, and we had to do like different things in gym class and everything like that. But I think, we need to get America healthy again, and we need to get people exercising, and to emphasize that, especially starting at a young age. I just thought it was so funny. Like,
that is funny. Well, it's the left really goes after Trump, and I understand why. But for the right that like Trump, that see the good stuff from him, it just makes us sound like bullies. Mm-hmm. And the left do not understand it, because many people, because they think people on the right are seeing the same social media, same news that we are, and they're not. They're seeing what Trump's doing. That's great. So it makes us look like bullies. Like, this doesn't even look like a bully. It just looks funny.
Yeah, me. Right. It's like, it seems like it should be like on, the Babylon Bee or the satire.
Yeah. So I have this saying that I say to myself very often when public speaking, when writing, and when just speaking to individuals, which is always and never, or almost always never, the right answer. So the idea is like hyperbole, saying things that are like, this always happens, or this never happens, will get you into trouble in life, because always and never just don't exist in this world, right? Everything's a bit gray. And so these like headlines that are just like pound you in the, like right in the mouth, like orders everyone but him to get fit again, for elementary kids and high school kids, by the way, to get there is just part of that way of the media talking to divide us.
I bet this worked. I bet people clicked on it. I bet it
I would click on it. I would definitely click on it. I want to see what they have to say about this. Right?
So, I mean, we just need to point out they're making that headline so that we read that article, so we get that news source money. Right. Yeah. Okay. Right.
You click in.
That's the first one for Chris. The Trump 79 orders everyone but him to get fit again. Now we're going to do number 2 from Tim, the second far to the right article that he found in his research.
All right. Posting now. which is the CEO's salary at defunded corporation for public broadcasting could fund a radio station for years.
This is
So
such a like a gaslighting thing.
it is such a gaslighting thing. So, I mean, we just defunded public broadcasting. The
Yeah, that one was
Corporation
hard.
for Public Broadcasting is going to close down, fire everybody in there. I think they have until October. They're going to have a budget for defunds a lot of what we've done locally. It puts the onus onto listeners to try to fund their local radio stations. I myself donate to my local NPR anywhere I've ever gone. So that's the policy there. That's what's happened. And we can talk about, is that good or bad? The CEO's salary of Corporation for Funding for Public Broadcasting was $524,000 a year. So this is federal money going to put into someone who's a CEO in a media company, getting $500,000 a year, whereas the CEOs of media companies get hundreds and tens of millions of dollars and sometimes more.
So the Fox News people in charge could help fund NPR.
So, but the Murdochs would love to do that, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, but not only that, the funding that we give to companies who have CEOs that make $25, $30, $40 million a year is across the board. They're everywhere. All of these weapons companies, all of the insurers, a United CEO makes 20x a million dollars a year. Plus, and some of that is in stock, which will just get higher and higher and higher. United CEO, they make money because of Medicare giving them money, because of Medicaid giving them money. It is a company using public money to make money, and they pay their people ridiculously high amounts of money. So let's talk. Maybe we want to talk about the $500,000 that went to this person. But man, is it spin, and to just really lean into that and if you read the article, it just does not mention the fact that public money pays for private executives that get loaded with money.
Before you get your counter, Christopher, I just think it's just such a bully playbook. It's such a bully playbook. They want to take the heat off of them. They're getting rid of a wonderful service to the public that does a really good job of being more in the middle. And they're blaming the people in charge of it and saying, well, you make so much money. If you just didn't do that, we wouldn't have this problem. So that you didn't look at who's actually defunding them. And I just see that happening all the time with bullies locally in the state and the country.
Before Christopher goes, I think it's important that I get this part in, which is I listen to NPR all the time. There are some programs there that are way.
Yes, they're far to the. I agree with you on that. But I agree with you.
When they do world reporting, when they do issue reporting very often from their reporters, like top of the hour kind of stuff, it's hard pressed to find some more factual, well-researched and trying to be in the middle type reporting. But there's sometimes you're listening to
you're right
and who they're interviewing or whatever, and this is left. So
yeah, good call. Okay, Christopher, what do you think?
I think going off that point, I think it's also so hard because I agreed. I didn't think that we should be funding over $20 million to NPR and I've listened to it too. And like you said, Uncle Timmy, a lot of those stories can be increasingly left leaning, but at the same time, it's so hard to do any type of media at all, right? And not have some sort of personal bias in there, right? And you're talking about your own experience and, what you've done in your life. And a lot of things about your own experience in your life shapes what you believe, but also shapes what other people believe that you believe too. So I think it's very challenging to be able to say this person is so, far left or things like that. In this setting, because you could pick and choose anything that is political, right? You can make anything political. Yeah. But I also wanted to go off the point, especially with this headline, is that I think both parties have kind of taken advantage of this. And it's anybody who is quote unquote elite, we can bash them, right? It's like CEOs, like made, rich people anywhere, like we're working for the middle class, like they're making all of this money, like to push all of this propaganda, like, and the headline, it doesn't say what the salary of the CEO is, right? It's just that CEO, that word that everybody
We don't
thinks,
like CEOs.
exactly,
Yep,
that
yep.
everybody thinks of. This is the highest person. They make the most money. They are all millionaires and billionaires, right? And so therefore, like, oh, of course, if their salaries like that, then yeah, of course, then it could fund it. Yeah, no crap that it could do that. But yeah, so I think it's that constant, like, easy, like it's so easy to be able to go and attack the elites of both party and the people with the money of both parties. But then you see them, both parties, backtrack too, because that's where all their money comes from and their mega donors and everything like that. So they got to be able to play nice with those people. But at the same time, to be able to rally up and rile up those, that middle class voter base for both sides, using rhetoric like this is exactly how they do it.
So they know to use those words to get us mad about the rich people, which is so ironic because they want us fighting about the left rich people or the right rich people so that we don't focus on the political rich people controlling us.
I would say one thing about the policy again is that, this was throwing the baby out with the bathwater. If you had problems with getting news to people through public messaging and ways to do that, you don't get rid of public messaging, right? You say, if you have problems with it, let's figure out.
Let's fix it. Let's not get rid of it.
Okay, let's create standards that have to be in place.
Yeah,
right?
I'm trying not to cry over this reality that just happened and just try to focus on the ridiculous headline. But yeah, okay.
I wanted to make one more point on this.
Go for it.
It was so one of my professors when I was in DC this year, we were looking at like the presidential rankings, right, from C-SPAN, and they have like a panel of all these different scholars, people who've worked in politics before, that do the presidential rankings, and there's 12 points, I think, that they rank them on. And there's no ranking for Joe Biden or Donald Trump's second term yet, right? And like my professor was like, here's the answer that C-SPAN gave to us about why there isn't a 2025 ranking, because they do it between every change in power, right? So the last time it was 2021 when Biden got in there. And they said like, oh, like President Trump's in his second term, it would be, too early to be able to tell, like, and rank and to try to say about, because he has so much 3 years left to be able to do what he needs to do, right? It would be challenging for us to rank him in the middle of his presidency, even though he already had one. And then my professor was like, you want to know what the real reason was? It was because he said, because C-SPAN was worried that if they ranked him low, then he would cut their funding. And and look at what actually happened. They didn't even need the ranking for them to get cut. So I just thought that was a pretty funny little insider information
coming from a Republican. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Christopher, what's your second one, far to the left headline?
Okay, so this one kind of scared me a little bit because like the headline was complete speculation, right? And this is from The Advocate, and it says, the DOJ to Ghislaine Maxwell, and quote, pardon me, do you mind lying and denying for Donald Trump?
Wow. There's a lot on there. Let me take that in. DOJ to Ghislaine Maxwell, pardon me, do you mind lying? And okay.
So, and like, I read the article and it was like, you shouldn't put it past this administration to pull a quid pro quo with it and things like that. And it's just like, and you could speculate that, anybody's doing that, like then the Trump administration could be doing that. Like, we don't know, but the fact that this isn't verifiable evidence and then you're using a quote in your headline.
Yeah.
People automatically think, oh my God, the DOJ is making a deal with Ghislaine Maxwell to do this and it's real.
Right.
Think how many people jumped to that from this headline.
There's no one knows anything about what's going on in those conversations right now.
Nope.
And so it's total speculation, and you can speculate all you want and predict what will happen, but please tell me that that's what it is and that we don't have the information right now. Where did this come from?
This was from The Advocate.
Okay. So yeah, so I think
just pure speculation as a headline. People read it and think it as fact and jump to what they are hoping you jump to, which is ultimately going to make us fear and not want to talk to our neighbors and family and friends that vote differently than us, because we're
We should
like,
also
look at what they're causing us to have happen.
We should also talk about this issue as being an interesting one, because when you do read the far right periodicals, it's hard, right? Because for them right now, the spin is really hard because half of their readers are very angry about this issue, and then another half are finding all sorts of ways to apologize for this issue. Right? I heard one thing from a voter about saying the reason that Trump is not releasing this is probably because he looked at it and there were so many world leaders in there that if he released it, there'd be 5, 10, 20 countries that would not have a leader tomorrow, and so he can't possibly do that, right? Again, it's like complete speculation, but it's like coming up with reasons for the behavior, right? Rather than waiting for what the result actually will be.
Yeah. And it's so based in fear. We're all so scared, especially those of us that read the news. We are terrified about what is going on. And that's real. The fear is real. But what these headlines are doing are just sparking it. They're just sparking the fear.
Exactly.
And it doesn't, this doesn't help us in any way. None of these headlines that we've been reading help us solve the problem of what's actually happening. It just creates more division. And that's why I wanted to have this show. Let's just point it out.
Someone
Exactly.
here's never heard of The Advocate. What is its partisan score on the?
Oh, it's on the it's all the way to the left on the media bias chart.
On the media bias chart, and we should post that media bias chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, send it to me and post it on here if you can, and I'll pull it up. But I can post it on our shows. Thanks, Christopher. Okay, Tim, we're on third far to the right headline.
This is on Breitbart, everyone's favorite
that one
organization. All right, Democrat New York Governor Kathy Hochul vows war over GOP redistricting in Texas. And the reason I chose this is because of the word redistricting. If you go on any center or left, mostly center and most of the center and left, it would put gerrymandering here rather than redistricting as a word. Whereas the further to the right you get, the more benign of a word that they use. So this is kind of like reverse spin, right? Instead of sensationalizing, it's trying to make it feel like it's an okay thing, and that the Democrat here is a crazy person who wants war over these very sensible GOP Texans who are redistricting right now. And so, and if anyone's been following the story, what this does is cuts up many of the major cities, Houston, Dallas, in Texas, to redistrict it, gerrymander it in such a way that 5 Democrats would lose their seat tomorrow.
Wow. And we know Texas is a purple state with voter suppression, and that state's got a lot of issues. So it makes sense that they're doing this because they want to hold on to their power. What do you think about this, Christopher? I would think this one might be different for you than what we think.
Yeah, no, so my thing is I don't agree with political gerrymandering or anything like that exactly. Right? I think that we what district is gerrymandered. We learned this in AP Gov, when it looks like a salamander, right? It's not like a box or something, and then there's a little thing, or they just get the blue areas in there and then they can surround it by red, or vice versa. But I also think I saw Kathy Hochul speaking about this the other day. And yes, from the grander political strategy, right, it makes sense for Democrats to do this to combat what's happening in Texas. But at the same time, Kathy Hochul was talking about taking away the bipartisan commission that New York has in place to be able to redistrict it in favor of Democrats, right? So some states, not all of them, have bipartisan commissions that come together to draw their districts, try to make them as fair as possible. There may be a little bit bias in there, but the bipartisan commission is, the state legislators aren't doing it, right? We're bringing in people from both sides of the aisle to create even and fair districts, right? And then talking about taking that away as a result of what Texas is doing, again, I said, it makes sense politically, but in terms of you wanting to be, a governor making sure that all of your people are represented, right? You're not on the national stage right now, Kathy Hochul. You're not the president of the United States. Like, you have to do what's best for New York, right? And you are going to hurt people like me, like, who live in Republican but tight Republican areas too, like, and we could lose our representation there too.
Yeah,
So
Democrats gerrymander too.
yeah,
Whoever has the super majority tend to gerrymander.
exactly.
So it's very important to recognize it's not just one side doing it. In my county, the Republicans have completely gerrymandered Harrison County. I'm not putting past in a few years, if we become completely Republican, them not doing the exact same thing. I mean, I would fight against it, but we need to acknowledge both sides do it. But we should call it out for what it is. We should call it gerrymandering. We should call it out on both sides every single time it's done. And we should do what you're saying. We should have a group of bipartisan people trying to make the districts as fair as possible. But that is not being done in many places, including Indiana and in Texas.
And gerrymandering is stopped through good courts and through fair court systems, right? Because of political bias happening within who's ever in charge of the state house within that state, wanting to get more power. As you can understand, that's what they might try to do. You have unbiased courts to be able to try to say, okay, this is not a map that we can accept. This is a map we can accept. And so, we can go into headlines about what the courts look like right now, but there is a lot of bias that seems to be entering into the courts both ways.
We almost passed a Supreme Court law to stop gerrymandering, but I believe it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death that stopped it from being able to happen. So we were very close to fixing gerrymandering a few years ago, and now we kind of have to try to do it state by state, and that's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Okay, Christopher, what is your third far to the right headline? No, far to the left headline. Sorry,
yeah.
Confused.
So mine is from MSNBC, and you've probably seen this in the news because it's been like crazy going around. Sydney Sweeney's ad shows unbridled cultural shift towards whiteness.
This ad shows an unbridled cultural shift toward white. I'm not sure I know what that means.
No, I couldn't tell you either. If you've seen the American Eagle ad, it was, Sydney Sweeney has good jeans, and she was wearing a pair of jeans. I don't know if you remember, Uncle Timmy, but I said, when you're elected, we're going to take a picture in the halls of Congress in a pair of jeans and say it's all in the jeans.
Because it's a good slogan. I mean,
exactly, it's a great slogan. And they're
Sydney
talking,
Sweeney
it's so
is a very attractive white woman actress.
Exactly.
So it was a take on that she's attractive.
Exactly. But then, people are talking about, it goes back to it's Nazi propaganda, talking about eugenics and complete and, just like creating a master race and everything like that. It's like, no, they're trying to advertise. She's a pretty girl. She's an actress. People love her. And, it's like, it's not a Nazi propaganda. It's just a good play on the words.
Right. And so, Yep.
Keep going.
No. So someone said this Sweeney headline isn't really political, though. I think at first blush, it's not really political, but this has been a political maelstrom, right? You have, because the word is that she is a Republican, I believe, is what's good.
Yeah, she is now she's a Republican, and Trump just tweeted about like it's the hottest ad ever after he found out she was a Republican.
And believe it or not, and I'm posting mine, which was Donald Trump praises American Eagle, Sydney Sweeney.
That's perfect.
That's my next one.
So we've got both spins on both sides here on the same story, because they didn't know what their headlines were before we did the show, which is part of the fun.
Right. So yeah, and just this idea of like using cultural events to divide us, right? Mm-hmm. And finding things that may have been benign in the past to find ways to put us on one side or another. And this, I don't know, I can't get in the heads of the advertisers, or American Eagle. I don't know who the executives are. I doubt the executives are, eugenic people, right?
Nobody saw that coming. They're just like, she's
Exactly.
an attractive woman in jeans. She's got good jeans.
They're
It's a
selling
sell ad
jeans.
for jeans.
Exactly. Like,
Nobody saw it coming, but the
And if
internet
we're
does what
wrong,
the
and
internet
maybe
does best.
there is some sort of scandal going on in the back, but give me some good reporting that is undercover, like that is deep journalistic excellence that's going into that to show me that's true.
If there is one take that we can get from this, it is that we all need to turn off our phones more and go outside and talk to people. That's the definition of this whole thing. We all need to take a deep breath and go do something in the real world.
I saw that from commented. Yeah, that was from MSNBC.
His was from MSNBC, and mine was from Breitbart.
Okay, so that was your next one. That was what, your fourth one?
That was my fourth one, yeah. So,
okay, so Christopher, do your fourth one now. That was hilarious. It was even the same. That's so funny.
This one is from Yahoo. And it says, in a shocking turn of events, the White House has admitted there is something wrong with Trump.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Like, that sounds like if I were reading that and I am worried about Trump, which I am worried about him being the president of the United States, it would be like, oh, great. The White House get it, so they're probably going to try to stop what's happening. Like it's like a hopeful message for people to the far, to the left.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, it was just talking about, I mean, the doctor can obviously put his 2 cents in there more, but it was talking about like the bruises on his hands, and I forget what the specific thrombosis. Yeah.
Peripheral vascular disease, which is when venous stasis, which is when your veins aren't bringing blood back to your body from your lower extremities as well as it should. And you take
have people said Trump has this?
Is it his doctors? The doctors came out with a report, said because he had some bruising on his hands and stuff like that too. And then they came out with the full doctor report. That's what they said he had, and that it's nothing significant or severe. Like my Uncle Timmy said, you just take aspirin for it. But that was from the White House's perspective in the interest of transparency compared to, the doctor's reports that we didn't get from
Let
Biden.
me just say, in terms of, again, the spin of it's nothing severe and it's no big deal. Like someone who has this disease, most people, not everybody, usually have other things going on and are chronically ill in various ways and aren't taking care of themselves very well, or have had life circumstances that have led them to this. It's not necessarily about self-responsibility and taking yourself. It could be any of these things, but health is usually not perfect when you're developing these types of problems. Sometimes
and it's typical in a 78-year-old man too.
Right. And so that's what I'm just saying. Like, even though it got spun, and I heard a little spin in your words there, and calling it out of like, oh, like he's fine, right? Like, I don't know, he's 70.
And that good. Thank you for calling me out on that, because that's the Republican talking point against that, right?
I would just like to go on the record and say I would love it if our next president wasn't in the 70s or 80s or 90s.
Oh my God.
Could we get someone younger and we don't have to worry about their fragile health?
Oh yeah. And I also think
a bad cold could take our last few presidents down. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think, going back to the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, I don't think we're going to get full clarity on that until all of these old people who were involved in it are out, and the people who grew up learning about the horrors of Jeffrey Epstein and what he did to these women are in power.
Right, which may take a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, yeah. If we could just get the average age of our senators and our presidents to just a little younger, that'd be great. That's my take on this article. Okay, Tim, you're on what, the fifth? Are we already at the fifth one?
This is my fifth one. Yeah.
Okay, last one, you guys, of the right wing spin.
This one is from Newsmax. It seems pretty benign. Stocks rise following sharp losses last week, and so we just went through a episode here where Trump put and announced tariffs on pretty much most countries in the world, and there was backlash in the stock market about this. And so most of the headlines, if you look at it, and a lot of this happened over the weekend when people aren't paying attention as much, the market started to respond to that negatively, losing 1-2% in a lot of different places. As I watch the right media, as Christopher watches the left, I try to read as much as possible. The headlines were really apologetic for it, and so I'm watching Newsmax not really talk about how it actually affected things, especially because a jobs report came out showing really poor jobs growth in the United States as well. And Christopher, we should talk about the fallout of that.
Mm-hmm.
All of this stuff is probably due to tariffs, and I say probably because it looks like it is. And then the first real headline that I see from Newsmax today is stocks rise, right? So like just saying, okay, we need to put our attention on these stocks rising and everything going great, when in fact there are so many signals to talk about that are emergent if those signals are attached to tariffs, to say we might want to be doing something a little bit different than the economic policy.
Isn't this the ultimate problem? Here's how I think it is. Rich people are getting richer and we're hurting the middle class and we're hurting those struggling more. But overall, it just keeps looking like we're doing great. But when you're like actually walking around your community, you're seeing people having it rougher than they used to. That's what it looks like to me.
The stock market going up is creates more economic divide that we have, and the economic divide between what's happened in the country from the 50s until now is enormous, right? And those who own stocks are benefiting as the stock market continues to rise overall, trending wise. Yes, but this in particular, what I'm talking about, will also affect even wealthy people who own stocks and who are investing in it.
Oh,
If what's happening in jobs right now is that no one's really creating jobs, because people aren't quitting and people aren't getting hired. And so you're sitting here saying, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. The theory is, I don't know what's going to happen with the tariffs. I own a business. I'm just going to play it cool for a little while and
wait
just
it out and see what.
let this thing ride out. We have a whole bunch of people who just graduated college and are looking for a job right now. It is a terrible job market to find jobs.
Awful.
Like really awful. And every time we have a generation that goes into 2007, 2008, times when there's a downfall in the economy, right after 9/11, things like that, those generations have rippling effects for decades in terms of them recovering economically. So,
Yep. Bryce just commented, lots of early retirement offers are being pushed by big corporations. I know several of my friends and family that are having this happen at the companies they work for. So it's in my life, it's happening.
And so let's just say this. What happened is that once this jobs report came out, Trump has now fired the person who's in charge of making the jobs report.
Yeah.
And so that data person's now fired, which really hurts. It hurts a lot of things, but it hurts the economy. It hurts investor confidence because they're like, I don't know what I can trust. I don't know what data I can trust or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah. One of the things like that I thought was super interesting about it was because the June jobs report was amazing compared to the July jobs report. Right. And we added a lot more jobs than was expected. I forget the exact number in June. And then when I looked at like the specific details of where people were going, it was mainly people going to state and local governments, like getting jobs in there because of the massive amounts of layoffs from the federal government side, right? And I'm a big believer in federalism. Like I'm a big believer in states' rights, and I'm happy that these local areas, these states are getting support and getting people with them. But it's also a massive ripple effect of what the directives were from the federal government that people were coming in. And like you said, there's no job creation right now. Like Trump likes to talk about bringing manufacturing back home, and he's making the steps to do that. And I will give him a lot of credit on that. But once again, they're not immediate effects, right? You're not going to bring, you have to take time to build a manufacturing plant before you can even hire the people to work in it, right? So that is going to take time. But I also think one of the biggest things that people base presidential success on is always the stock market, right? It's stock market and gas and oil prices, because those are the two things that you can look to and say it's going up or it's going down, right? Those are the two most clear-cut things. And at the end of the day, while presidential policy and influence can have an effect on the stock market and oil and gas prices, right? At the end of the day, like, they are not moving and shaking every single little thing to be able to make that go up or down. And you saw, like, after the first round of tariffs and the stock market tanked, there was, because due to a lot of the uncertainty, Trump trashed the stock market, and he said, I'm working for the middle class. Like, I'm not working for these wealthy people who want the stocks and everything like that. And then stock market takes a turn again. Look at what I've done for the stock market, right?
I'm so interested on another show for you, Christopher, to tell me what steps is Trump actually doing to help? Because my side doesn't see any good of Trump. And I would personally love it if there were real things that were happening that will actually help the country. I am not getting that news to me. So, yeah, if you ever want to research, tell us. I believe the majority of people watching us are more to the left, even though we want to get right people too. And we're trying to just give you the truth. It's very hard. I want to know more because I don't see it.
Yeah. Well,
And
I think that the thing about that too is a lot of policies enacted by presidents, and you can look at this with whether it's
it takes
Biden,
years
Trump,
and years.
Obama, it takes years and years. Like, they're set up to be successful, most likely after their presidency
I mean,
is
what we
finished.
could do is Trump's first 4
Infrastructure bill.
years. Did he do things that helped the country? And what are they? And what are the proofs that showed it? Because our side is only getting the bad things. And in my opinion, there are a lot of bad things. And I'm really worried about dictatorship, authoritarianism right now. So I would just want to know, are there things that he did? Because the right is mostly just seeing the great things he's doing. And so when we're going in after and say he's doing terrible things, we a lot of times look like bullies because we're attacking the way he looks and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, I want to get to more of the facts about it. And it's so hard because everything has a political spin.
Yeah. And
It's
I
why
think
Tim and I started the media company.
one of the things I realized too, especially like working in digital marketing this summer, especially for Republicans, is that it's a lot easier when you're not in power and you can just attack the entire time, right? You don't have to be on the defensive. You could say there's so many possibilities of what this person could be doing, right? They could be doing this, this, and this, and then, you would hold out hope that the person in your party would follow through on what you want to happen, right? And then when your party's in power and you have leaders in power actually making the policy, like, you may not agree with everything that's in there, but you have to stick with them because that it's better than the alternative.
The other side. Yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
Believe that it's better than
Sarah
the
and I
alternative.
are kind of living that kind of reality right now, where we're doing this Project Next and trying to do our best to bring people together, to show all sides, to say what we believe, and then say what others believe, and try to find some good in it, etc. And there's a lot of people out there that do not want us to be doing that. And so there's a lot of opinions that we get, and Sarah, as a woman, usually takes the brunt of this more
Yeah,
so.
I get more trolling from the left than I do from the right.
Yep.
And
Sure.
I'm just because of this one thing. Did you know most Republicans are good people? That message is like, you're a monster. You're so wrong. And I'm so mad at you for saying that. And bam, bam, bam on Sarah. And it's like, after a while it gets to me. But I have to make Tim get out of a meeting so he can help me, like it's hard sometimes.
No, and that is like the hard, because like you feel like you have a home in your party, right? But then at the same time, you don't, right? And like, I feel the same way as a Republican a lot of the time, because I'll say I agree with some of a lot of the things
And
that
it's like, no, you have to completely 100% agree with your side or you're out. And that is
exactly, or even be
killing us.
friends
Yeah.
with Democrats and people like that. It's just like, they're people, human beings. Like, we could have differing political views and still be able to go grab a beer or hang out and do all of these things. Like, it's not that deep.
Imagine if we were all going out to dinner after a meeting where we disagreed and we had chips and salsa together and we talked about it and we found out we had more in common than different. And then we went back to another meeting a few days later and we compromised because
That's
we
the idea of the
listened to the other
problem
side.
solvers caucus. That's the idea of the problem solvers caucus in Congress, is to, some people have stepped up to say, I will talk to Republicans, I will talk to Democrats when I'm not, and actually have interactions with them, both social.
Those are the people I want on both sides being elected.
Right.
I want people that'll talk. I want Democrats that will talk to Republicans, and I want Republicans that will talk to Democrats. And those extreme people that refuse to see the other side and just listen, I want out.
I want to give you
Yeah,
an insight into Christopher and my life here, is that our family is mostly Democrats.
your side. The other side for me is all Republican.
That's your dad's side is
my dad's side is.
A lot of liberal Democrats, some kind of Bush voters that became Democrats, and then a couple people more to the right. So, but it's mostly Democrats. But it's an interesting Thanksgiving in which there's a lot of actual conversation and a lot of love, and somehow, you hear these stories about terrible Thanksgivings and all that. It's not what's going on in our family. And I'm really happy about that, really proud of that, feel really fortunate for that we can have these discussions. And I think that shaped both Christopher and myself, I won't speak for you completely, about how we've been able to approach politics by trying to bridge divides.
What a beautiful thing that your Republican nephew flew down and helped your campaign last summer. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. If we did more of that across the aisle on all sides, and we accepted people as people instead of putting labels on them, think how much better the world will be. Now I have a winner. Okay.
Wait, no, I have my fifth one.
Go for it. And then we're gonna end in a couple minutes.
This is my favorite one.
Oh, I forgot one. I'm glad you caught me.
So this is from the Daily Beast, and it's about Kristi Noem. And it says, Judge tears into ICE Barbie blistering ruling on deportation plot.
What?
So calling Kristi Noem an ICE Barbie.
Yeah.
Judge tears into ICE Barbie in blistering ruling on deportation plot. So they're saying a judge called someone an ICE bar. I don't even
No. So a judge went so I forget what the specific directive was that Kristi Noem was trying to get through for
deportation. Is Kristi Noem Dem or Republican?
She's the Secretary of Homeland Security. So she's the one who runs ICE. She's in charge of ICE.
She's in charge of ICE. Okay, I didn't know that. Thanks.
Exactly. But she's former governor of South Dakota, very pretty, makeup on, all a lot, likes to wear her nice clothes and everything like that. And a lot of the time she gets attacked for, wearing, Gucci when she's going on ICE raids. But at the same time, just the headline in general, just calling her an ICE Barbie, that automatic.
This is just very a sexist headline,
exactly.
Which I can identify with. Let's just put the woman down in her place based on her looks. It's just number one thing. I mean,
this
Trump
issue
has been known to do this. He rates women 1 to 10 frequently that he doesn't like. He calls them ugly.
This issue is so clear, cut and dry on where you might stand on it, and thus there's pieces in the middle for sure about immigration to talk about it. But there are so many people that have made their opinion on this issue. I don't really think you need to use the words ICE Barbie to get.
No, just talk about the truth. It's pretty scary what's happening in the real world. We don't need to say ICE Barbie. Let's just say what's actually happening.
Right. And for both sides, it's scary, right? They both have their reasons where they're feeling fear. And so, and what they're scared. So, and what's been fed to them both ways, what the realities are, that's
it's
all
very scary.
You're everywhere. I don't think we need to demean women in the meantime.
Exactly. Yeah. And I also think from the headline too, just the use of the word blistering, that automatically sets alarm bells off in my head too. Oh, this is bad, right? This is automatically bad. I'm going to read something that's not good that happened, right? And then we'll most likely align if I, agree with that headline.
So in the future, if we get a bunch of people watching this live, everybody can vote and we can try to keep track if we can. But so if you are watching now, put which headline you think is the worst. And I'm going to call my winner out this time. But if you guys can comment, whether you're watching it live or not, which one you think is the worst, on the next episode, I will say the audience chose this headline as the worst. But you can do that now if you're watching. So please let us know which one you think is the worst. I'm just going to call out, due to time, just which one I think overall wins. And the overall winner to me is Chris's headline about the fitness one. Which one is that? Can we find it? We need to pull it up again here.
Trump
It was towards the
79 orders
beginning.
everyone but him to get fit again.
That's the winner. There it is. So that is the winner in my opinion. That one gave me the biggest laugh. It's such a left, far to the left group to just bully Trump. And I get why people don't like him. I get it, but it just makes our side look like such bullies. And this one is just so funny. It's hilarious. I mean, is he 79 now or is he 78?
No, he's 79. Yeah.
So he's 79 now, to act like we should be making him do a fitness test, like the same one as you're getting at 21. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Or like just like or even younger than me, like kids in high
So
school.
congratulations. Clap for Chris. You win.
Thank you.
Compared to, I'm the only one picking, but I came up
All the
with
credit
so.
to Daily Beast and Donald Trump for that.
You guys were great. I really like this. We want to know, what did you think about the show? Please leave us comments. Please rate and review us. We are on Substack, Project Next Indiana. You can sign up for Substack and you can get emails of our shows. We're on podcasts, Apple, Spotify. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. So follow us. If you don't mind pumping out our content some. It is hard to not be divisive and to get people to watch our stuff. So we need your help. We are an independent media company. I cannot thank you two enough because I know you had to do homework and research, and this was a very brave show. So you guys are two of my favorite people. I'm so thankful for you all. So thank you.
Thanks,
and
Thank you,
yeah,
Sam.
thank you. And we'll do this again. Let us know what you thought about it. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.